God, what are you listening to me for?
Well, no, because you said it. I trust your judgment.
Well, that's a mistake. This is absolutely Essendon. Welcome back. Thank you for tuning in. It's our mid-season musings, and we wanted to use this episode, now that we've all had time, us, you guys, to digest what's happened over the last few weeks, have a bit of a breather, and now we look forward. But we thought we'd take a moment to digest and have a look at the teams that we played. Has the form been franked? Or otherwise, even though it's not a linear process, we get that. Just because you beat one team, they beat you, then obviously that's the way the league works. However, can we draw something from it as we look forward to the next 5 or 6 rounds and have our views also in terms of the shortcomings of the team changed at all? Now that we've had time to just sit back, and are you happy to go that way with this episode?
Yeah, look, it's an interesting subject that you've raised and suggested, because I have had a couple of weeks, or nearly 2 weeks since we last played, to think about where we're at and what was happening before the bye, the form that we were displaying, and I guess the reality of being an Essendon supporter when, you always live in fear that the good times can't last for too long. And I'm wondering whether we're 2023 reprised. Is this the second instalment of the previous season where we had a good start to the year? I think, we were after 17 rounds, we were 5th on the ladder.
Yeah.
But only to win 1 out of our last 7 games or something. And I guess a lot of the guys out there are all in the same boat as us and thinking, was that form, that pretty solid start to the season? I think we're 8 wins, 4 losses and a draw. Does that truly represent where we're at as a team, or is that flattering? It's a little hard to say. And I think your point about the games just before the bye, particularly we had 2 games against West Coast and North Melbourne where everyone was on a high, percentage boosters. We needed to lift our percentage, and nothing really came of it. But we won the games.
Yes.
Only to then lose the following 2 games, albeit not badly.
Yeah, well, no, hang on. So there was a Dreamtime game, I think.
Oh, and the Richmond. Well, that's right. Yeah. So they were 3 games. In fact, if you take West Coast, I don't know if they're all in order, but in
North
that period
Melbourne,
of time,
Richmond, yeah.
So we didn't really dominate in any of. I think we beat North by 40, but it was only 1 quarter of footy
where
we kicked 8 goals and sort of got a lead on it. But otherwise, they had done pretty well. So quite a bit to sort of digest there. I think.
Yes. So I wanted to, as I said, it's not linear. But I just wanted to have a look and just get a quick take. Okay, so North Melbourne, we played them. We were a bit unsatisfied with the victory, but we got the victory, so tick. But since then, they went on to beat West Coast, and then they have almost beat the Pies, who are in decent form and were leading by 54 points, I think, at the 8-minute mark of the third quarter.
Was it that much? Yeah.
Yes, it was.
Did they get that far out?
They did.
Wow.
They really did. And so, of course, we're all cheering for the shin boners.
Of course we were.
But they didn't. And again, another controversial decision in the end, but we won't get into umpiring at this point. That's not the purpose of this episode. Please don't. No. So does that, just very quickly, do you think, does that frank our form, North Melbourne, or not frank? I would say it probably franks it a little bit because...
So, but by saying does it frank our form, are you saying it confirms that we're not at the level we thought we were at? Or...
Oh, yeah, no, that's a fair point. I'm probably being confusing. I'm saying
totally confusing.
That it's a solid endorsement of our form in terms of the results with them. Do you think?
No, I still don't understand what you mean.
Yeah, okay.
All right. So look, let's put it another way. Was the sort of improved performances of those sides after they played us proof that we didn't perform quite as bad as we thought we had against who we thought were easy beats?
Thank you.
Is that?
You should do my subtitles.
Yes. Did they frank our form? Meaning, did they confirm or otherwise, I get you. It's a really interesting point that you raised.
You're right. I don't think you really believe that. But, all right. Well, then let me go to the next one.
Let's go through.
Let's go to the Tigers. A Dreamtime game, always a big occasion.
Huge occasion.
And we said, okay, they've risen up for the occasion.
Yeah.
That's why it wasn't a belting, which we were hoping, expecting. Didn't happen.
Well, did they arise for that? Was it for that occasion, or did it just because Dustin Martin had his one good game this year?
Well, this is what I'm asking. The next week,
did I just interrupt you?
They go and possibly.
Sorry.
They went and lost to Geelong. Okay, but down in Geelong, not easy.
Although they had done quite. Sorry, but you raised the point.
Yes,
they did actually have a lead on Geelong. Okay, wasn't
they did.
It? Geelong kind of ran over them at the end, but
yes,
okay, yeah, right.
They did, and then the following week against Hawthorn, Dustin's 300th game. I would say just as emotional an event for the club as Dreamtime, if not more. And they got, I would have thought so. Yeah. And they got easily beaten by Hawthorn.
Yes. So were they caught up in the emotion of the game because it was their great Dustin Martin?
Oh, this could go many ways.
Yeah, I tell you.
Okay, all right. So I'm throwing out all this evidence.
No, but I think the valid point is there's a lot of ways to skin a cat when you analyse a game of football. And I think getting back to what I said at the outset of this video is, where are we? And I think you're trying to say the same thing. And is it bad, good, or otherwise? Are we looking forward to, a strong end to the season where we can continue to hold our place in the top 4, which is where we currently are, and look forward to playing a home final, maybe even with a second chance, and perhaps having a win? I think
that's right. Where are we at on the slider-meter?
Right. So
Slido-meter.
So I saw a graphic on the internet. I think it was on Twitter or X, where you have this kind of like this, that recycle logo where the arrows go around like this, and it had beginning of the season, rise up the ladder. At the top of this little infographic, it had, getting hopes up, and then on the way down, it said the slide begins, and then it repeats the process, and that seems to be Essendon's sort of like script, if you like. It certainly has been for the last couple of years. Are we going to be able to keep our place in the 4? Yes or no?
That's right, exactly. And so like there's a part of me that feels like the foundation is different to last year.
What makes you think that?
I know. I'm saying the's a part of me. There's another part of me that is incredibly concerned about things like.
So who have we got coming up then?
So we have. Let's dive in. We have West Coast.
Oh, there's another win.
Well, okay, all right. So
percentage booster.
I know you're not confident about that at all.
No, I think we'll win that game for sure.
Arch enemy, Geelong, and nemesis.
All right, let's just stop on Geelong for a second. Okay. So Geelong, I think we haven't beaten them for what? 10 games or something.
It's been some time.
A ridiculous number of games.
And not beaten them, been embarrassed.
Now, we went and got Ben Mackay.
We did.
I would think that the last time we played Geelong, or in recent times when we played Geelong, and Tom Hawkins has, bagged 7 goals through or whatever, someone in the coach's box or in the selection committee said we need to get someone so we never lose a game to Geelong ever again and not let Tom Hawkins score a bag. And they went and got Ben Mackay, I think largely motivated by our lack of performance against these monster forwards.
Yes.
So Ben Mackay on the big bucks. We play Geelong. Surely we've got them this time, right? That's the thinking. That's the ingredients that have been put into the pot.
You know how life works.
So Tom Hawkins, who's had a pretty average year by his standards, probably on his last season, to be honest.
Right.
If Tom Hawkins comes out and kicks 5 goals, let's say 4 goals against us in that game and Geelong win that match, we're on the slide.
It's official?
It would be official.
All right.
We have no balls. The edge was made up, and we're on a slide. If we cannot beat Geelong, when is it, 2 weeks away or something like that? I think it's after the West Coast game.
Yes.
So round 16 from memory.
Yeah.
Then everything we set out to achieve in the off-season, particularly investing in that key defender in the form of Ben Mackay, and I'm not saying it's all on him, but certainly... You'd have to be questioning where this club's at if we lose to Geelong again this year. Okay, all right. So now, I'm not trying to be negative. I'm hoping we will. No. I think that's fair. Yeah. Any more than 4 goals, and that's an unsuccessful situation. Okay, so we then come up against Collingwood again, who, of course, we drew with on Anzac Day. Should have won. On Anzac Day? Should have won. They should have won? We should have won. Okay. We should have won. We jumped them in the first quarter. I think we kicked 6 goals in the first quarter, and they got a couple late. But
Jamie Elliott takes that mark.
Yeah, Jamie Elliott took the great mark. And then I think it was Langford had a shot from about 40 out directly in front. And 35 out and just put it. So we should have won it.
Okay, all right. So
and they've been nothing but good since then.
They
pretty much.
Right.
Pretty much.
So that is a big question mark on that game?
Look, I'm always semi-confident against Collingwood. I don't know why, because there's no proof of that. There's no evidence.
Because the stakes are high.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. I always feel pretty confident we can beat Collingwood. I don't feel that way when we play Carlton.
Yeah.
But with Collingwood, I feel like we can get them.
Right.
And I do this time as well. I still think, we match up pretty well against them.
Okay, all right. Okay, next is Melbourne.
Yeah, look, I mean, they're a team in all sorts of bother.
And we haven't played them yet this year.
We haven't. And, they've lost their great protractor for the rest of the season, I believe.
They have.
With a punctured lung and split spleen and ripped torso, all of that.
He really...
Petrarca, and then, of course, Oliver's not the player he once was, but Gawn is. And I think,
yes. Yes.
Go on,
best ruckman, you're right. And,
But you don't rate ruckman, so...
Not unless they're Max Gawn.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Although,
anyway,
to be fair, he's a midfielder. He's a midfielder. Yeah. I mean, he gets the ball that often.
He does. Heaps.
And, his work around the ground is phenomenal.
Yeah.
We should have Sam Draper back, right? He's ready to go. As far as I know, he could be playing in the game against the Eagles this coming week.
Okay.
And, look, I was a bit down on Draper at the beginning of the year, but I've got to say, I think our fall away at centre bounce clearances in the last 4 or 5 weeks, a lot of that is missing him. Because whilst he can be a bit of a donkey sometimes, a bit of a galah, there's no question that he is a pressure beast at those centre bounces. He's always going to make the other side earn the possession.
True.
And, of course, without Parrish there to support him, there's no doubt getting those two guys back over the course of the next few weeks would make a huge difference to our chances.
Okay, all right. So we're assuming we're getting some solid
Xavier Dersma will be back soon.
I'm assuming that.
And, there's a couple other guys that are on the sort of periphery that should be available. But, so certainly Parrish and Draper are the keys, I think. Getting them back will make a big difference.
Okay, so then we have Adelaide.
Yeah, that's again over here. So, they had a shocking game last week. Adelaide, I think they're done and dusted for the season.
They seem to be off the boil. It would seem.
Were they ever on the boil?
Well, they started well against Sydney. I thought possibly an upset was on, but no, that was over.
They're done. I mean, their season's over. And I tell you what, it could very well be Matthew Nix's last season as coach.
Oh, jeez.
Look, they were shit. They emerged and they've gone back to being shit. I don't think coaches survive that.
Yeah, right.
You don't get that cycle. So it'd be interesting to see what happens with Knicks. They're a team that's missing a few players, but honestly, if we can't beat them on our own deck, there's more problems to be dealt with. Then we've got to put a W against the Adelaide game.
Okay, then we
don't you agree?
I would agree with that. Look, I would say against both Melbourne and Adelaide, we should.
I feel confident that we can beat Melbourne.
I don't think it's being arrogant.
Yeah. Look, funnily enough, I think we're good to go against Collingwood. I mean, look, they'd go into the game favourites for sure. But, I still feel that we can match Collingwood. We showed that. We did show that in the Anzac Day game.
Yeah, okay.
It'll be a sellout, by the way, that Collingwood game. It's already sold out. So it'll be a big match. But, I mean, Collingwood, Adelaide, who was the other one?
So, there was West Coast.
West Coast. Yeah, they're 3 games that we should be looking at winning. I think Geelong, funnily enough, there's just something about that Geelong team. I don't know what it is that makes them so hard for us to beat.
They're the bogey team. And then the only other one I'll mention is the 6th game from this point is St Kilda, who have not set the world on fire.
They haven't.
Playing a very defensive game.
I mean, Ross just isn't feeling the vibe down there at Moorabbin. And, they're just constantly disappointing. What is it with that team?
There's one, will he survive?
I mean, yes, he will, because, I think he's got the reputation to get through it, but they're missing. So I think it's their recruiting that's the problem, to be honest with you.
All right, well, hey, get in the queue.
But Ross Lyon, is he, in this day and age, is that type of game plan going to be is that going to catapult the Saints up into the top four? I don't think it will. I think they're just not able to score. A little bit like us, actually. We've improved defensively, but we're just not able to score. And I think we need to talk about our forward line. Well,
that's right. So again, that was one of the things. Now that we've had time to digest, because we started the season very accurate in front of goal and kicking some good scores, and somewhere along the line
it went
tapered. Or maybe even dropped away.
Yeah.
And so I don't know if it's totally the forward line's fault. Now that I've had time to sit, digest and meditate, I don't know.
It's all... Look, a good football team, exceeds the sum of its parts, right? So I know that's a cliche, but I have to say I do think we have a problem with our forward line. And interestingly, Brad Scott gave a press conference this week, and it was a subject that was raised. Is there a problem? What are we doing about it? And he acknowledged that there's improvement. Clearly, there's a need for improvement. I think it's a little bit more than that. I think structurally, our forward line is not really functioning. And I have to say, look, I'm not going out targeting 2-metre Peter. I mean, he's shown he can do it, but I think his lack of form is a real problem for us at the moment. And I think he is also... The year when he kicked those 50 goals or so, he didn't have Harry Jones sitting in that forward line. He was predominantly out missing. And I think Harry Jones and Peter Wright in the same space isn't working. Yeah. And I'm just wondering whether that's a Wright issue or is it a Jones issue. Now, a lot of people say it's Harry Jones because, he's kind of struggled to find that form that we hoped that he would. Perhaps it's time to try some combinations. Is it a Caddy-Jones combination? Is it a Caddy-Wright combination? Langford as well has been a little off the boil recently. And, he was just untouchable last year, but this year, and particularly in the last few weeks, he's looked a little bit shaky up forward.
I don't know. I don't know if he's had as many opportunities. Maybe I'm just defending him because,
Oh, well, we had more forward entries, forward 50 entries. We had 20 more forward 50 entries. Well, that's a fair comment. It is a fair comment. But look, I don't think our forward entries have gotten better or worse than they were last year. And Langford was 50 goals last year.
True. So that's true.
I think that just the structure, there's no defensive pressure. I don't think Langford and Wright apply any defensive pressure. We're not keeping the ball in the forward 50. And then the other problem, of course, is we don't have that reliable small forward.
No.
That, like the Stengel type or the Papley, these types of guys. Gresham was brought into the side to be partly that, but he's also a high half forward. He plays a little bit more midfield than, say, in the forward pocket. So even though Peter Wright's not marking the ball, more often than not, it's coming to ground and we're just not able to retain the ball in our forward 50. So Stringer was good for a period. I think he's gone off the boil a little bit in recent times. And then, of course, the inaccuracies. Their kicking at goal has cost us the last two games.
Yeah, that's true.
That's true. It's certainly contributed to the losses.
Right. So if you were then to synthesise all of that and even throw in, some inclusions coming in, from 0 to 10 on the slider meter, how likely... We haven't even discussed this, but how likely are we to slide over the next 6 to 8 weeks?
I'm going to say to you that we won't. We're not going to slide.
Unlikely. So
unlikely.
Well, would you say 5 as a midpoint, or even less than that?
If you're saying, are we going to retain a top 4 spot? Probably not.
Yeah, I would say
probably not.
I would not.
Will we finish 5th and 6th? I think we have to. We can't finish 6th or 7th or 8th. Because that could be an away final, interstate. You know what's going to happen.
Yes.
We've been there, done that.
We have.
So come hell or high water, we have to finish at least in the top 6. And I think we can. We've got 8 wins and a draw. I think to finish top 6, we're going to need 14 wins.
Yep. That's the number.
6 more wins out of, 9 games I think we've got to play. So not easy.
No, not easy
Not
at
easy.
all.
But, I think it's gettable. We play all bar 1 game in Melbourne. at either the MCG or Marvel,
Yep.
other than the Brisbane game, which we play in the last round,
Yep.
up at the Gabbers. So,
Yep.
look, it's not out of the question. And honestly, if we're good enough, we're going to do it.
Yeah.
And I think the return of some injured players is going to bring some sort of energy back into the team. I think
Yeah.
the bye came at exactly the right time.
Yeah.
And I believe that, based certainly on what I've heard Brad Scott say in the last few days, they're addressing some of those challenges with that forward line setup.
Right.
So I want to see Caddy in the team for
You
sure.
do.
Yeah,
So
and I reckon out there the guys will say, yep,
Right.
Caddy's got to come into the
You
side.
think, even though this is the business end of the season, there's nothing wrong with changing and mixing it up?
How do we ever know? This is the thing. Oh, he's not ready for it. Well, how do you know until good players can just come in. And I saw enough. That one game he played, he didn't set the world on fire, but he showed that he was a footballer. And that was the common theme. I heard a lot of the guys in the media saying the same thing.
Yeah.
He looked like a footballer.
Yeah.
And I think we've got to get him into the side. Don't kill the enthusiasm. Give the fans something to look forward to. Give the young kids something to look forward to. Put the challenge to him and say, we're on a bit of an edge here, right?
Yes.
You could be the difference. You could be the difference. Come into this side, do your job, kick a couple of goals, and bring some energy to that side. I think that's really critically important, because what we showed against Carlton and what we showed against Gold Coast was tiredness. It was laziness, and I think we need to get a spark back.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So you're pro.
I am
mixing things up in the forward line.
Yeah,
Okay.
we've got issues, no question.
Okay.
But I believe in the edge. You know that.
Yes. Oh,
I think there is a little bit more robustness in this team than there has been in recent years. I strongly believe that.
Okay, all right. I would probably agree. As I sort of alluded to in the outset, I just feel like the foundations are stronger on this house that is Bomberland this year. So I'm fearful of it always, because we're scarred, but I'm hopeful.
We are scarred, aren't we?
Yeah, we are.
Yeah.
Of course we are.
Is everybody scarred, or is it just you and I?
Everyone's scarred.
Everyone's scarred.
You're all scarred. Fess up.
Yeah. Well, look, we've got 3 teams in the AFL that are on 16 premierships. I know this is probably overthinking it, but we cannot let Carlton and Collingwood win a 17th premiership.
Yeah.
We cannot.
Yeah.
So we're playing one of those sides again this season for sure. Collingwood, we must beat them. This team has got to learn the legacy and the history and the tradition. Mm-hmm. We cannot let our opponents get to that 17th premiership before we do.
Yeah.
And I'd be making that the challenge. If we do nothing, at least stop them.
Take them down.
Yeah.
All right. I'm all for that.
I think we can finish in the top 6 for sure. I believe we can win those 6 games if that's what it's going to take. Maybe 5 with the draw.
Yeah.
I believe we can win the final. I'm very confident about that. I'm not being negative.
I would agree.
I believe. Do you believe?
I'm a believer. Definitely a believer.
Yeah.
I would agree with that. But we'd love your comments. Where is sentiment at?
Yeah.
We'd love to know. We'd like to sort of synthesize all that and just see how you're feeling, what you're feeling now that you've also had time to digest. So please put it down in the comments. Oh, and by the way, we've had not many, but 1 or 2 people say that they've sort of said, why are we deleting their comments? I just want to. We never delete comments. We don't know how to delete comments.
Well, come back with a bitchy response. We don't like it, but we certainly never delete it.
No. Yes, we just honestly we don't do that. So we accept them all, even the nasty ones. We're okay with it.
Yeah,
we'll take it on the chin. So please comment away. Whatever you want to say, we'll happily, we'll accept. We'll read it.
Honestly, that's absolutely correct. I know there was one gentleman who was quite annoyed by that. He felt that we had done that deliberately, but no, absolutely not. No. Bring it on. If you don't like what we're saying, we want to hear that, I mean, and a lot of people do express it, so it's not like we're going to single out just one of those people and go, well, let's delete that comment. Absolutely not. No. We welcome the feedback. In fact, the best part of doing this show, Smoking, is actually reading the comments comments.
It is.
And I would say, not to have a go at anyone else's channel, they're all good. But, I think we actually do get the best engagement. I think we've got the smartest fans who watch our show. I don't know why, but they watch.
No, it's one of the things I'm proud of, is that everyone, feels like they this is a place to share their thoughts.
And they do write a bit. Some people write essays, and you know who you are. But we love it, and we really appreciate it. And we ask you, please continue doing that, because we're like you. We just love to talk about the Dons. So
I think that is.
How did that go?
I don't know what we achieved, but I feel better.
Do you?
Yeah, I don't know why.
Yeah,
it was. We just needed. We needed a crackling fire behind us, and a glass of something
maybe
nice.
A masseuse.
Yeah.
Just rubbing the shoulders.
Yeah, just a little. Anyway, so thank you once again for watching, and we face the West Coast this week.
Yeah, we do. I'm looking forward to getting down to Marvel for that game.
I'm going to be on the road, so that review may be delayed.
We will be doing that
for two
remotely.
Yes, we're going to have to.
You'll have to dial it in.
Yes, I will, with a bad internet service.
Yep.
Okay, all right. Thanks again for watching.
Thanks, guys. Give us your comments.
Yes.
And we'll see you soon.
Bye for now. Bye.